Today I am making a video that I am actually a little nervous isn't going to turn out good at all. On Shin Godzilla, or Godzilla Resurgence, or Shin Godzilla, however you want to say it. I'm going to call it Shin Godzilla from here on out. I saw the movie yesterday, finally. I wanted to see it on Wednesday when it came out, but sadly, I wasn't able to. Now, luckily, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but lucky for me, the theater was playing it 10 minutes away from my house. And I expected it to be like a small theater. Yeah, I still have the terrible cough, I know. I expected it to be a very small theater, but no. It was a huge theater. Like, think Regal Cinema's big. Probably bigger than that. But the theater was very nice, and I saw it the second day, so obviously there weren't as many people, but the theater was almost packed, and everyone wanted to see Shin Godzilla. Except for some reason, you know how in theaters they have the little thing at the top that says the number, like 4 or something, and then it says the name movie? It didn't say Shin Godzilla, it says something like Crayox or something like that. I don't know, it was weird. But anyway, I'm here to talk about the movie Shin Godzilla, my thoughts on it, and actually how it compares to 2014, because that and 2014 are the only Godzilla films I've seen in theaters. Now, this is going to be like my Jurassic World review. If you remember that, I waited 6 years for that movie, if you didn't, or something like that. And when I saw it, I was flipping out like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever! Until I realized it is not best to do a movie review as soon as you see the movie. So I've waited a day, I know, enough time, to be calmed down enough to make a video on it. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm not good at movie reviews, I really am not, but I'm going to try my best to do a review on this. First thing I'm going to do is a non-spoiler part and then spoilers, so non-spoilers first. The movie was amazing. Now, there is only 2 things I could think of that I did not like about the movie. The first thing was the CGI. Now, CGI I really don't hate in a movie if it isn't, like, if it's, like, really bad, then I hate it, but Shin Godzilla CGI wasn't terrible the whole time. Some parts, though, for example, oh crap, I am gonna get in spoilers. Okay, spoiler alert, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna be spoilers, I'm sorry. Non-spoiler review right here. 9 out of 10, great movie, go check it out. Okay, now we're in spoilers. So there's a scene where there's 2 trains are charging at Shin Godzilla, or Shin, whatever. They're charging at him, and they hit his legs. It looked like it came out of a PS2 game. That bad. Now, I know I'm still dying, but that is a very minor thing, because that was the only part of the CGI which I hated. Now, other than that, there was no other problems. Well, with the Japanese actors anyway. With the American actors, because yes, there are American actors in this film who speak English, they sounded so cheesy. Like, one of the guys sounded like this. So, imagine, if I remember correctly, it was everyone was sitting in a presidential room. There were the 3 people looking out the window, and the one guy was like, Japan has suffered enough. Godzilla will not be defeated so easily this time. I'm just like, this sounds so terrible. Why? The Japanese actors were phenomenal. I don't know any of their names, but they were phenomenal. But the English actors were, oof. Also, the main character, that's a girl. I don't know her name. Yeah, I really don't know. I didn't know anyone's names during the film. That's one slight problem I had. I didn't know anyone's names. But the main girl, who's like part American stuff, she tried to speak English, but wasn't very good at it. But, you know, she tried at least. So, 2 minor things. Now, let's get on to the positives. The characters. The characters, which, again, I don't know any of their names, were amazing. Like, I'm gonna go into how it's, like, different than 2014 stuff, but 2014 characters were kind of lackluster. The only character that was good, in my opinion at least, don't hate me, was Bryan Cranston. As I was saying before Bryan Cranston was pretty much the only character that I liked. The other characters were kind of lackluster in anything. They weren't interesting. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson, you followed him, you're like, oh yeah, he's an army soldier, so what? I don't care. Oh wow, he's trying to save his family. Good on him. Where's Godzilla? In Shin Godzilla, nothing like that. Or at least for me. when you watched it, you were interested in the characters. And there's this one scene where the Prime Minister is flying in a helicopter when Shin Godzilla's firing his beam. And remember, this is spoilers, so don't watch this video until you see the movie, or if you don't care. Where Shin Godzilla's beam hits the copter and blows up. I was legitimately sad, because the Prime Minister was such a good character, and he's just killed like that. And it was really sad, in my opinion. And this older guy took over as Prime Minister reluctantly, and the characters were just good. Now, the theme, I guess, well, not theme, parts of the movie, the basic thing of the movie was a lot of talking. Now, normally if you're a Michael Bay fan or something, you're like, where are the explosions? I don't care about talking. I don't care about plot storyline. I don't care about any background information. I just want to see explosions, atomic breath, fighting, all that. Yeah, this movie isn't that movie. Go see Transformers Age of Extinction or The Last Night or whatever the hell it's called. Go see that. Now, there was a lot of dialogue. And contrary to what certain people said, it was not very hard to follow. Even with English subtitles, I was able to read it and understand everything. And you really have to pay attention to this because it's a very serious film. Like, it takes place, like, in the government. And, like, I said like 4 times. Like. Anyway, that's because I like this movie. No. You really have to pay attention to the characters because they go in depth. They go into the background of Godzilla. They go into... You actually feel like it's a real thing. It's really realistic. Like, Godzilla 2014, I'm going to compare these a lot in this, so I said it like twice. The army thing, they had the army and stuff going after him. It seemed interesting, but comparing that to this, it didn't seem realistic at all. This, they had to go through documents. They couldn't do things without signage of, like, the Prime Minister. They couldn't use artillery without, like, different things. They had U.S. and Japan trade codes from World War II. There's so much demographic background and governmental issues. And if you didn't know, I'm a huge government fan. I love I'm not a fan of the government. I don't know why I do jazz hands so much, but I love dealing with, like, politics and stuff like that. And it was very interesting to see how they were dealing with it. And, I mean, a lot of talking could be a downside, but there was also a lot of Godzilla screen time. I mean, it balanced out evenly. The characters had good dialogue. The talking scenes weren't boring at all. I never fall asleep once at all. Not saying I fell asleep during a Godzilla movie before. Destroyer. But I loved it. The talking was amazing. Now let's get on to Godzilla. He first comes out of the water, as you already know, his second form, I guess you could say, or his first form, that little weird tan thing I'm going to have a picture of here soon. And it looks incredible. Like, honestly, the CGI in it is not the best, but it looks good for what it is. He starts off with his tail just dangling out of the water like this and stuff. And then he walks face forward into a bunch of cars, and you see the amount of terror that's in people's eyes when they're running. You see everything going on. Until, you know, they show his eyes and his face. Because then he's got the big, like... I know. Perfect representation of Shin Godzilla's first form. No. He looked terrible. I mean, or not terrible in the sense I hated it. He looked goofy, and it was funny to see it because there were, like, people going like, "Run, it's Gojira!" And they just have him go like... Man, I have a bad cough. I have a water bottle here, but I'm not gonna drink it. But it was incredible. And he does this evolving thing, too, where he ends up growing... Like, he starts off with, like, little, like, nubs like this, and then he, like, grows arms, like, not a lot. They're not very large, but he grows arms. His skin changes to red and stuff. He gets in an upright position, and he does the 1954 roar, which I thought was pretty cool. Although, later on when he does the show roars, it kind of just doesn't fit very... like, he looks like a nightmarish creature. You think he had a nightmarish roar, but no, it's like 1964 and stuff, so... But, then what's cool is, apparently, in his body... And they go back to, like, the history of Godzilla. He has a thermonuclear reactor, if you remember from, like, Destroyer. And he had, when he's evolving, it heated up his body so much that his, like, spines were glowing red and he was heated up. And he needed to cool down. So, he kind of morphed back into this first form, and that's the tan one, or as I'm gonna call it, the aquatic form, or Eelzilla. He kind of morphed back into that and ran into the ocean. We don't see him for a long time. And later on in the movie, he comes back in his form that we're all know him as, and that's when he looks the best, in my opinion. He looked amazing in that scene. He looked like a guy in a suit, and he just looked pissed off. It was incredible. And you saw the actual size, like when the army goes to first attack them, you see the size, because there are these giant skyscrapers, and you can see like little cars. You see how big Godzilla actually is. Now, I'm not saying in 2014 you didn't get a good size of him, but in this, you just get such a amazing size of how immensely large he is. And then afterwards, the army tries to attack him with different weapons. Nothing works. Then we go on to a night scene where he's like trampling through a city at night. There was a blackout. The blackout was incredible. You never see that in Godzilla movies. They're always lit up. No, this had a blackout in a city. That I'd never seen before, and that was amazing. Everything that's about this movie, I just love it. Not so much I'm going to say everything positive. There are negatives I'm going to get into a little bit later again. But then you have the U.S. get involved, and there are these stealth bombers, and they drop bombs on his back. And again, this Godzilla isn't the most durable Godzilla, and later on, when I go with Louis Duran and do that Zilla is like Shin Godzilla video, I'll get more into how he isn't the most durable Godzilla ever. But the bombs pierce his back, and like, he kind of, like, blood bursts out of him and everything. He roars up in pain, and then he does that scene where he, like, hunches down and stuff like that. And all you see is, like, his sides start to turn from red to, like, an orange and a purple. Then you got the mouth opening scene and stuff where the jaw splits in the bottom and stuff. And he has so much, he just starts firing black smoke. And I'm going to probably play the scene where he does it in here. And then it turns to fire, and then it turns into high precision, like, high-pitched laser beam. And he just cuts down the stealth bombers and stuff. And then two more appear. This is the funny part. This is why I said I hated the American lines. One of the lines is, coming around for a second attack, payback time. Yup, payback time. It was so cheesy. It just, of course, then Shin Godzilla remembers from last time when they bombed his back, he activates the little, like, lasers from his back. Blows up everything. And I mean, it's amazing. You got the Shin Godzilla theme, the main one that's playing. I don't remember the name of it. I really don't remember a lot of the names of anything in this movie. But you got that theme playing. The whole city's engulfed in flames. You got the laser beam just cutting everything down. It's incredible. Then afterwards, Shin Godzilla kind of goes in a hibernation stasis where he goes for like 15 days of just dead-ish. Well, he's not dead, but he's like sleeping. And then later on in the movie, you'll see that he's like completely gray. Like wherever it was red, it was all like his skin color and stuff. There's no red on him at all. His eyes were closed and all that. Then you see that the things start to glow red on him and stuff. Now, what else is cool is that the Japanese government and stuff, they were all trying to figure out what's the plan to stop Godzilla. They're all thinking, oh, artillery isn't working, what should we do? There's this special team that's like to deal with Shin Godzilla where they have this whole map, and they find out that his body's made of new elements and that he's going to continue to evolve. And they said that he might grow wings, and then I got scared. But they're all designed to research Shin Godzilla. Then they find out that his body is a nuclear reactor, and then when he's cooling down, they realize that he has kind of a cooling system in him. And their plan is to make some type of freezing blood coagulant to freeze the blood in him. And if you remember Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, the one guy had the bullet that was going to shoot Godzilla with blood coagulant and kill him. It's kind of the same thing, but instead of a gun, they have like these cranes with things that go in his mouth. Now, when Godzilla wakes up, they have this whole, while he's still asleep, the American government says that Japan has to deal with it within 3 days, I think. They're going to launch a thermonuclear bomb on him and blow him up, which really, you think would make him stronger, but I don't know. Anyway, then after that, Japan goes in like, we need one more day to complete the formula and stuff like that. This is cool. They go to France, or Germany, I think it was France though. They go to France and they have, they talk about how there was a trade deal and stuff during World War II and stuff. And France convinces the U.S. to give them one more 24 hours before the bomb drops. So then they have these American stealth, like they have bombs placed into buildings and stuff. Like Shin Godzilla's right here. You have like skyscrapers right here and right here and right here and stuff. Shin Godzilla wakes up, and then they have stealth bombers, like American stealth bomber drones. There were no pilots. They were like robots, all flying and attacking Shin Godzilla. He ignites his beams and all that stuff, and what's cool is he has kind of a timer and once his breath runs out, he can't use it for a certain amount of time. So he's all blasting the drones, and they're used as a distraction to make him waste his energy. So then his beams go from bright purple, and then they fade to orange, and then they just explode and that's it. And then he gets the beam at the end of his tail and stuff. And then once he's run out of things like beams and stuff and energy, they basically press a button, blow up the skyscrapers, and all of them fall on Shin Godzilla. Then he's on the ground. Then they send in the trucks to pump the stuff in his mouth. He wakes up in the middle of it, fires a beam at them, and then they have to do it all over again, kinda. But then this is the scene I said was really bad. The CGI trains that look like a PS2 game, they have to go hit him on the legs, and there are thousands of trains going up his body, blowing up. He flops down really fast, and then they get the things, more of the liquid nitrogen stuff pumping in him to freeze his blood and stuff and kill him basically. Then he wakes up during that. He bites the things, throws them. Then he starts walking. Then they have a cool freeze effect where he's starts to gray and it goes like that with ice, and then he's frozen. Then they have a bunch of dialogue about them talking, saying, we now have to live in a world to coexist with Godzilla, and then they're saying man was the biggest danger. Man is more dangerous than Godzilla ever was. Then at the end you have the scene with the tail, and it just pans up the tail, and you see the human hybrid creature things popped out of his tail but frozen and stuff. And that's very interesting, because if you remember, they said he would continue to evolve. And one of Shin Godzilla's plans and stuff was he was going to create smaller versions to grow into more Shin Godzillas, and then they'd basically take over the human race. And my friend Clonezilla said something similar, that goes with it. And they really did treat Shin Godzilla like a god in this movie. And he went and said, what's more godlike than creating man in your own image? And that's a very interesting thing to think about. Now, here's where that's the end for my kind of in-depth, not really in-depth, but my review of Shin Godzilla, which was great. The only problems I had with it, like I said, the CGI in some scenes were pretty crappy, and the English actors were terrible. Other than that, the movie was a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. Now we're going to compare it to 2014. Characters, Shin Godzilla wins. CGI, 2014 wins. And Godzilla overall, it depends on just which version you like better. I kind of prefer Shin Godzilla just because it's so interesting the way he is. Music, the music was very good. It had some hints of Showa music in some parts, and it had the all the choir music and stuff going on, and it was very good half the time. And they didn't play music the entire movie either, which was very nice. Now, a lot of people have been comparing Shin Godzilla in 2014, and the one thing I have to say about that is, you're not supposed to compare them. It's like apples and oranges. I forget who said that. My friend XJ Productions said that to me earlier, basically. They're both fruit, but they're both different flavors of fruit. I heard something that scares me. You can like both and stuff, and they have their differences, but they're still fruit. That's the way it works. Godzilla 2014 and Shin Godzilla, both are different in their own ways, but they're still Godzilla. You can't go and say, oh no, he's a carrot. I'm going back to the vegetable thing. You can't go and say an apple's a carrot and stuff, or a vegetable. No, it's a fruit. You can't say, oh, Godzilla 2014 isn't a real Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is a real Godzilla because he evolves. It's still Godzilla. And I, for one, love this movie. If you have not seen it yet, go watch it. You need to see this movie. It is incredible. Now, that's all I really have to say. And there was a lot of 1954 feel to it. And it is a more serious Godzilla film. And there are some humorous moments in it, though. Like, one of the guys was going, they crack some jokes about America. America is seen as really mean people sometimes, but They crack jokes about America and other stuff too. So, this concludes my somewhat review. I'm sorry I'm shaking, my leg's shaking. Anyway, this concludes my somewhat review of Shin Godzilla. Thank you all for watching, and for those of you who stuck with me to watch this, thank you. Those of you who are going to dislike this video, I hope you rot in hell, you suck up. No. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video as I go to press the power button on my iPad. Goodbye.